What's poppin', y'all? The other day, I put out a tweet on X or post on Twitter saying, quote, country music is the new hip hop. Didn't give any context, didn't give any further explanation, because that's what I like to do in videos. And it kind of always starts out like this, where people say, yo, you just said something crazy. And then they listen to what I have to say and they'll be like, yeah, you know, you're kind of spin. Because there's a lot of different contexts that this can be interpreted from. The reason why I say this isn't necessarily musical, but I'll give you guys some data first. I'm going to put out a bunch of different points in this video that circle back to my point. Also, follow me on Twitter at @TheMindOfHY. That all circle back to why and in what context that I believe country music is the new hip hop. Now, when it comes to the first point, I don't really enjoy country music. I've tried listening to a couple of songs. I'm probably going to try again more so this week. But I've listened in the past. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't enjoy it. I just don't find it good. Now, does that mean I knock people that listen to it? No. So this is not from a musical perspective whatsoever. But what I think is not, kind of what's pervasive. For example, when rock fans, hip hop was coming up, they're probably like, yo, I don't like hip hop. And some of them were probably also saying, yeah, this thing isn't the new rock, but it was, whether they wanted to accept it or not. So that's the first point. This is not musical. Also, if you have any rebuttals, any thoughts, I really do want them on this topic. But please watch till the end, because sometimes people talk or attack a point that I made in minute 2, and then I addressed the exact thing in minute 7. So number 1 is the recent commercial success. Doesn't it feel like, well, let's just run through the numbers. So in the top 10, right, of the Billboard Hot 100 right now, there's Zach Bryan that has a song at number 2. There is Luke Combs that has a song at number 3. There is Morgan Wallen that has a song at number 5. So, and then there's the Oliver Anthony guy, which it's a really weird song. I didn't care about it. I thought the song sucked. And frankly, I thought it was kind of corny and lame. So I don't even really consider the guy an artist. This is kind of a hit, but let's just say it's a breakout hit. It's a temperature check. So that's 4 in the top 11. When has this been a thing? Now, you had people like Morgan Wallen, who's been popular who's been damn near a superstar for several years now. And when he dropped an album, maybe had 1, 2, 3 songs close to the top 10. But distinct artists, I can't remember the last time I saw this in my lifetime. So this is a really big deal. And then if you go into the top 40, you've got, Bailey Zimmerman, who's a young guy, country act. He's at number 15. I think he's 23 or something. And then you've also got another woman, I believe, who may be part of a group. I think it's Jason Aldean. That's another guy, but that's not the woman. And Lainey Wilson. So you've got probably 6, 7, maybe 8. I'm not calculating the exact numbers. This isn't math class. I mean, I did love math class, but yeah, this is math class. I abandoned that. So you've got all these distinct country music artists. That means there's people resonating with it. Commercially, it's very popular, which is kind of surprising, kind of become like the new pop or the new hip hop. Okay, that's a perfect argument. It's the new pop. That's what some people will say. This isn't hip hop. This is pop now because it's the most popular or one of the most popular genres. Look at all these hits in the top 10. Look at all these hits in the top 40. And I will say fair take. But hip hop was the pop a couple of years ago. And now it feels like it's fading. For example, the first number 1 hit this year was Doja Cat's song. And the last 3 number 1s by hip hop songs have been women. And this was the first one this year. September, talking 9 months in. And the last 2 were women. I think it was Nicki Minaj and Lotto. I put the post up on my Instagram, which you should follow me at helloyassine. So that goes to show that hip hop is not hitting commercially very well. Or did Travis Scott go number 1? I don't think Travis Scott went number 1 this year. Yeah, he tried with a single, not a album. So there's that. Now, the hip-hop element. Country music has widely been seen and interpreted, especially from people within cities. It's like, yo, this is a southern thing. This is a kind of backwoods. Maybe Nashville, Tennessee is like a major city, but Oklahoma, these regions, that's where this is popular. And people that fit certain stereotypes, right? Like, let's say white people that are more rural, stuff like that grew up in a certain culture. But when you start to see people from outside that culture start to get invested, start to enjoy the music, then it's being pervasive, kind of like hip-hop. Hip-hop was an inner city thing, a black thing, and Latinos lived around the areas mainly too, so they kind of experienced it first. But then it would grow, and eventually you've got all these suburban people that are going to shows and stuff like that. And I think the same thing is happening with country music, because I've increasingly seen a lot of young girls in cities, 18, 19, 20, 21, that aren't white. They're in cities that are maybe Mexican, that are maybe Latina, that are maybe some even Asian, and these different ethnic groups that country music isn't associated with, and they're young, but they love this stuff, and they love these artists, and they're so invested in them. And these same girls in this age group were the ones that maybe 2016, 2017, 2018 were fans of SoundCloud rap or trap, so to speak. So Future, Travis Scott, but now they've all moved to country music. And a lot of music is dictated by young girls, whether it's, like I would say 18 to 24. What they're listening to is eventually what guys are going to adopt later on. Because remember when I was talking 2018, I'm pretty sure I made the video where I said like Latino music is coming to take over the US. And I said that Drake was going to be on a song with Bad Bunny, and then 6 months later it ended up happening. People were saying, nah, this isn't really going to be a thing. Well, it became a thing largely because of young girls. Young girls were listening to Bad Bunny heavy. It wasn't really guys. And then the young guys that spoke Spanish started listening to Bad Bunny because of the young girls. And then guys in general and girls in general started listening to him. So young girls do influence a lot more than people think. Like, for example, Sexy Red, that's young black girls that are messing with that. And then it kind of bubbles up. I don't know if it's the same thing with Ice Spice, but for people that are popular, you need young girls to get to this level. And I think guys will just adopt it. So in 3-4, I would say in 2.5 to 3 years, if you've got a bunch of guys that are messing with country music, that didn't grow up listening to country music, didn't really like country music, but now mess with it, it's because young girls influence them too. And young girls also influence the older women that are like, let's say 25 plus. So at that point, it kind of all starts with them. So that's partially why I say hip hop, because hip hop was a young person's game. Young girls liked hip hop too. So that's another element of it that I connected to hip hop, or say it's the new hip hop. Now, my third point is how fast new stars are rising. Remember in hip hop when it felt like, every day you just look around and there was a new rapper, or, a cycle of every couple of months there was a new star. That's what it feels like with country music. Now, for people that seriously follow the genre, I don't think that's the case. They probably say, nah, I've seen this guy come up. He's been working this long, this and that. But for me, the naked eye, it feels like every year there's a new guy. A couple of years ago, it felt like, oh, whoa, Morgan Wallen just came out of nowhere, which probably wasn't the case. And then this year, I think it's Kane Brown or Zach Bryan, whichever guy had the mugshot, because a bunch of chicks were posting that mugshot. And he's like a young guy. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Where did he come from? He's at the top of the charts now. And these guys are outselling pop acts and hip hop acts. So they're doing the biggest numbers. They've got young girls. They're kind of embodying the rebellious nature that hip hop had, like Morgan Wallen. I mean, he's a wild boy. He said some wild stuff. This other guy that kind of got arrested, they're embodying this counterculture too. And it has all of these elements put together. Now, people did give an argument to say, hey, they're not influencing culture worldwide like hip hop did. But globally speaking, you've got to be the biggest genre in the US first before you can export. So they're still kind of building here. I mean, groups like the Dixie Chicks were popular globally too. With that being said, I think that's a possibility. In the next couple of years, we could see the influence, whether it's style, whether it's kind of talk and things like that, of country music culture spread globally. But hip hop's had like 20 plus years, I would say, before like it actually started spreading like crazy. Late 90s, I would say, is when the world started adopting it. Like Pac, Big, them passing away, and then Snoop Dogg, that was also a big era. So that's when the world started accepting it. For country music, it's going to take time, but I will give that point, or I will concede that point, even though I wasn't making it, that it hasn't reached that influence, but that's not from the perspective or the context that I was saying my statement. So I hope that kind of covers the majority of points. I probably have a couple of more that I might just come up with because I just like to think about this through the day, but it's something we should all pay attention to. And I do wonder, for anybody, I know there are people that follow country music here. Is there anybody kind of that does what I do, or kind of like Blackie Speaks or stuff like that, but for country music? Because number one, if there really isn't, then that is a big opportunity right now because it's like the biggest genre. And I would watch those videos because I don't know what's going on. And if there is, please put that person's name. You can't put links in the comments. Just type that person's name so I can check it out and learn more about the genre. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Any discussions, disagreements, make sure to leave them. Just be respectful, Yeah, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.